Welcome to Growth Gatherings, where we share inspiring leadership stories from Pakistan and beyond. Our guest today, Manisha Rupeta. She doesn't just wear a uniform, she carries purpose with it. She's a symbol of bravery and resilience. She's on a mission to increase female participation in Sindh Police. Welcome, Manisha. Thank you for joining Growth Gatherings.
Thank you for inviting.
So, सबसे पहले आप wonderful to see you in uniform. मुझे ये बताइए कि आपने ये सिलेक्ट कैसे किया कि you wanted to get into police and start your career as a police officer?
I think it's a long story cut short,
हाँ.
and I believe whenever someone asks me these questions, that how did I get into this field? So it's a lot of like the stages of life compressed into few briefings of the moments. So I basically belong to Jekpabad,
Hmm.
and which is considered to be like one of the smallest rural cities of Sindh.
Hmm.
So basically, I was very much passionate about education.
अच्छा.
So where the education is leading me, I did not know, but I was very much passionate about education, that I have to get education in life and
Hmm.
become something which gives meaning to my life,
Hmm.
something which gives meaning to the very existence that I have been brought into the world. So like I was very good into studies, and after my primary and secondary education, when I was finally enrolled into the medical college,
Hmm.
so I always felt that I am not getting that the very kick, very satisfaction that I am supposed to be a doctor, or I am supposed to be in the medical studies. So I finally came to know that there is something which is called civil services,
Hmm.
and when you prepare for the competitive examination, and you get selected, and then there are certain gurus that you choose. So I finally started preparing for the competitive examination, like while I was in university. So it was like a very tenuous journey of failures, and of and then during that preparation I came to know कि जो है एक uniformed service है और इतने इतने gurus हैं. So what attracted me most was the uniformed service. I always thought कि अगर मैं क्वालिफाई करती हूँ तो मेरी जो फर्स्ट ऑप्शन होगा, मेरी जो फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी होगी, दैट विल बी अ पुलिस ऑफिसर. बिकॉज मैं जब पढ़ती थी यूनिवर्सिटी में, तो वहाँ पे एक सब्जेक्ट होता था साइकोलॉजी. सो वंस आई वाज अटेंडिंग द साइकोलॉजी क्लास, तो वहाँ पे टीचर ने जो बात कही, दैट वाज कि जो आपका विजन होता है लाइफ में, दैट इज़ ऑलवेज अ मूविंग पिक्चर. When
Hmm.
you close your eyes, you see yourself, that where do you want to be in your life. So while I was sitting in class, and whenever I closed my eyes, I always wanted to be a police officer. So I always saw myself being on a position where, instead of asking for help, I extend the hand of help to others, and I'm in a position where I believe that my position also empowers other women in life. So I think that was the only vision behind, like, why I chose police and why it was my top priority.
That's an inspiring story. Was it difficult to prepare for the civil service exam being based in Jacobabad and not, having those resources?
I think it was very challenging, but then I shifted to Karachi, like after my intermediate. My medical education is from Karachi.
अच्छा.
So my graduation is from Karachi. So I was in Karachi when I was preparing for the examination. But overall, preparing for the civil services is always very challenging, and it's a long journey, and everyone has a different story, because I am also teaching in academy for the last few years. So I know, like, seeing students having different backgrounds, having different dreams in their eyes, and like having very contrasting social backgrounds also. So it is always challenging, but what keeps you going is that consistency, that I can do it. सो वाइल आई थिंक व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड प्रिपेयरिंग, तो मैंने पहले दिन पे, मैं हमेशा अपने स्टूडेंट्स को भी बताती हूँ, आई रोट के मैं किन चीज़ों में वीक हूँ. So I wrote like I'm weak in current affairs because I was a medical graduate. I didn't have much knowledge about the current affairs. I'm weak in other optional subjects like political science because हम लोगों को physiology, anatomy ये पढ़ा दे, but we don't know about political science and other subjects like those. I was also weak in mathematics. तो मैंने सबसे पहले अपने weak areas लिखे that these are my weak areas, and then I started working on those areas. कि आई हैव टू फोकस ऑन दीज एरियाज. और बाकी जो मेरे स्ट्रेंथ्स थे आई ऑल्सो रोट डाउन माई स्ट्रेंथ लाइक दीज आर माई स्ट्रेंथ्स. But it was a
Which
long
are?
journey.
What are your strengths? And what did you write at that time?
I wrote that I don't have any issues in grammar in English because I thought that I was, I had good drafting skills in terms of essay writing, composition. So that was the area that deserved my least attention as compared to the other subjects. But I had to just focus on the practice and, getting material about the other subjects. And one thing I always believe that was my strength is that I don't easily give up on myself no matter how many times I fail in life. So I think that was the biggest strength that I had at that time and which actually helped me most. I believe whenever people ask me to share my success story, I tell them that this is more of the story of failures than a success story because I flunked in my first attempt and then I also flunked in my second attempt. So it was finally my third attempt that I passed the examination. So it is very easy to mention now कि पहली में भी flunk हो गई, second में भी, but it was long years of preparation till I finally got to this position.
One thing, I'm still sort of your transition from Jacobabad to Karachi because there'll be people watching this podcast या हो सकता है नहीं देख पाते हो for whatever reason, but if it reaches, what is the message there? क्योंकि ये भी लोगों को होता है ना कि भाई हमारे पास opportunities नहीं है, but it sounds like you created your own opportunities despite the failures, right? So ये इसके पीछे क्या mindset था?
I think I would have to go back to the very glimpse of my childhood because I have been brought into in the city like Jacobabad and my primary and secondary education is also from there. मुझे आज भी याद है कि मैं जब स्कूल में पढ़ती थी तो जैसे मेरी क्लासेस बढ़ती जाती थी वैसे लड़कियां कम होती जाती थी क्लास में. और वहाँ पे आज शायद ये कहना बहुत ही आसान है कि एजुकेशन इज़ प्रिवेलेंट ऑल ओवर. बट बैक देन आई डिड नॉट सी मच अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ फॉर women to get education, and for women to get education it was always like a privilege because daughters were not considered to be the top priority in terms of education and resource allocation, especially in the families. सो आई बिलीव कि जैसे क्लास बढ़ती जाती थी मैं देखती थी कि मेरी जो फ्रेंड्स हैं वो बिल्कुल कम होती जा रही हैं. और जब भी उनसे रीज़न पूछा जाता था तो वो कहती थी कि बस घर वालों ने कहा है कि इतनी काफ़ी है पढ़ाई और वैसे भी तो शादी करके हमने जो है ये सिलाई, कुकिंग और इस तरह के स्किल्स लर्न करने चाहिए. सो वी वांट टू फोकस ऑन दोज एरियाज़. सो जैसे आई ऑब्जर्व दीज थिंग्स इन माई सराउंडिंग्स तो मुझे लगता था कि मैं बहुत प्रिविलेज्ड हूँ एंड आई एम ऑल्सो लाइक अ ब्लेस्ड चाइल्ड or I might be God's favorite child that he got that he gave me parents like I had because they never told me that education was not for women because they never told me that daughters should not be given priority in terms of resources allocation because I always thought मुझे लगता था कि हमें देख के हो सकता है कि लड़कों को कॉम्प्लेक्स फील होता हो बट आई नेवर फेल डिस्क्रिमिनेटेड इन माई फैमिली जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ माई जेंडर and that was the point where I learned that how a woman should be treated in life because I believe that this is very much important that you treat your woman and the way that you treat your men in the home because that is where they get perception and that is where they shape their own reality that this is how I should be treated all over in other stages of my life too. So but I still remember that my parents were always taunted at and criticized
by who
for by the society related
extended family neighbors
कि like they are wasting their resources on daughters, और बच्चियों को कौन पढ़ाता है, and women always get spoiled when they step out of their houses. But I remember when I was in 5th class, I was enrolled in an English coaching center because my father was very much keen in educating all of his daughters. And I think this was his vision that actually kept telling us that education is something that we need to always aspire for, and that is something that that should be the top priority in your life. And I believe I think these are parents who shape our perceptions regarding what or who we want to be in life. So though I think challenges are always there, and the times that I'm talking about, those were the challenging times, and at a very early stage I lost my father. So it was very much challenging to keep up his vision of getting education to that level. But because of the support of my mother, we kept going. And I think when you are keen to get something in life, no challenges, no matter what people say. And एक बात जो मैं आपके आज तवसुत से ज़रूर कहना चाहूँगी, I have never repeated in my life what people said about us or what hurt me, which things hurt me the most. Because I believe in bringing positivity to wherever I step into. And I believe that you convey the vibrations to the universe. So those vibrations should always be positive. Those vibrations should always be, forthcoming and, giving hope to someone and giving hope to your own life. So we do not need to keep repeating that what hurt us most in life. एंड वी डोंट नीड टू कीप रिपीटिंग व्हाट चैलेंजेस डिड वी फेस. हम लोग बहुत ज़्यादा दुखी स्टोरीज बताना चाहते हैं जस्ट बिकॉज टू इंडोर्स के वी हैव अचीव्ड समथिंग ग्रेट इन लाइफ. We need to acknowledge that we faced challenges, but at the very same time we need to acknowledge that we are God's favorite children. That's why He gave us this opportunity to come out of those situations and become something in life.
Amazing, amazing message. So you mentioned failures, right? And now you're a DSP, which is obviously you're in the senior ranks of Sindh Police, and you look very young and very soft and in a very hard male dominant profession. Tell me the secret sauce here for your success.
When I got allocated, it was like you are receiving congratulations from the all sides that you have, finally become something and achieved something in life. But I still remember the day when I stepped into National Police Academy for my training. Because अब तक तो हम लोग बहुत खुश थे कि हम लोग पुलिस में आ गए. लेकिन वो जो ट्रेनिंग का पहला दिन था, एंड व्हेन आई गॉट अप अर्ली इन द मॉर्निंग एंड दे आस्क्ड मी टू रन बिकॉज आई वाज समवन हु वाज हमें इस बात पे भी बात करनी चाहिए कि हमारे माशरे में फिज़िकल एजुकेशन बहुत कम है, स्पोर्ट्स एजुकेशन बहुत कम है,
Especially for women.
स्पेशली फॉर वुमेन. हम लोग फिजिकल फिटनेस को जो है कोई बहुत बड़ी चीज़ समझते हैं, विच इज़ नॉट फॉर ऑर्डिनरी पीपल और ऑर्डिनरी वुमेन. तो आई थिंक के I was from the background also where I didn't have much opportunity to be exposed to the physical activities, या फिर क्योंकि मैंने बहुत ज़्यादा इन्वेस्ट किया था खुद को एजुकेशन में. So it was my first exposure of running and it was my first time that I was और फिर इस दौरानिए में मैंने इतनी ज़्यादा टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स भी नहीं ली किसी सीनियर से कि किस तरह से ट्रेनिंग होगी. आई एम लाइक कि बस जब मैं इंटर हो जाऊंगी तो हो जाएंगी चीज़ें.
बस फिर तो भर्ती होके ही निकलोगी डंडे के साथ.
And I think that was the best part of life because I learned a lot. वहाँ पे मैंने बहुत चीज़ें सीखी, फिजिकल एक्टिविटी सीखी. पहले दिन पे मुझसे रनिंग नहीं होती थी, आखिरी दिन पे मैंने सारे जो भी माइलस्टोन्स थे वो सारे अचीव किए, रनिंग से लेके ऑब्स्टेकल्स तक. और फिर जब मेरी एलीट ट्रेनिंग हुई लाहौर में, उसमें आई स्टिल रिमेंबर वो जो आप 90 मीटर्स टावर से नीचे जंप करते हैं. सो आई थिंक दैट वाज वेरी चैलेंजिंग.
Oh, I
जो
did
एक
not know that 90
हाँ,
meter के towers है. And I'm assuming it's the same training for both men and women.
yes, it is same for
Standard
both.
change नहीं होते, even from a physical fitness
नहीं.
perspective, which is, yeah.
तो फिर वो आई थिंक आई लर्नड अ लॉट, आई लॉस्ट माय वेट एंड आई learned a great deal of things, and with this physical resilience and physical training you somehow also develop emotional training, क्योंकि उसमें वो हर चीज़ चैलेंजिंग लगना, एंड देन बाय द एंड ऑफ द डे यू ऑल्सो अचीव दोज थिंग्स एंड यू अचीव दोज स्मॉल माइलस्टोन्स एवरी डे कि आज इतना हो गया, बस कुछ और सेकंड्स। तो वो कुछ और सेकंड्स की जो होप होती है कि अभी बस हम लोग करने वाले हैं एंड वी आर नियर टू द डेस्टिनेशन, आई थिंक इट टीचेस अस ग्रेट डील ऑफ थिंग्स। सो द ट्रेनिंग पार्ट ऑफ ये जो मेरी पूरी सर्विस है, आई थिंक इट वाज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट टाइम्स, बिकॉज इसमें ना सिर्फ हमारी एकेडमिक ग्रूमिंग होती है, बट वो जो फिजिकल और इमोशनल ग्रूमिंग होती है, दैट इज़ ह्यूज।
And it's a tough job. And being Karachi is a massive city, right? And also in terms of the the residents, there's a lot of diversity here. How do you manage stress in your current role?
I would like to mention like from where did I start. So I was first posted as SDPO Daraksha in District South, and then I was posted as SDPO Clifton in the same District South, and then now I'm currently posted as SDPO Gulbarg in District Central. So like the areas have been totally diverse and different to each other in terms of population, in terms of crime dynamics, in terms of the public that we serve. So it was Daraksha was very challenging, and it is kind of prime posting because और मैंने देखा कि वहाँ पे पहले कभी फीमेल ऑफिसर ने सर्व भी नहीं किया, but I have served for a year in Daraksha. So that was very challenging and very insightful for me. और फिर हम लोग वी आर एक्सपोज टू दी एक्सपीरियंसेस ऑफ पीपल, और वो जो ऐसे ऐसे केसेस स्पेशली रिलेटेड टू दी विमेन, और बहुत ऐसे केसेस आते हैं व्हेन we also question कि this also happens in life or this also happens in world, and this is the ugly part of the society, because mainly we deal with the, I believe कि ugly part of the society which is dealing with crime and then
Correct.
also dealing with criminals. So but over time we develop this emotional resilience and we are in a position to help people out. और मुझे लगता है कि कराची की जो सबसे खूबसूरत बात ये है कि यहाँ पे हर किसी के लिए स्पेस है, इरिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ हिज और हर सोशल बैकग्राउंड, इरिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ हिज और हर फेथ, एथनिक बैकग्राउंड। तो यहाँ पे we have to deal with every kind of person, every kind of people, and because there is a lot of diversity in terms of population, so there is also diversity in terms of crime too, and in terms of how to deal with the challenges. But with time, because I'm also part of the people, I understand their challenges, and I come from the background that they are right now, so I better know that these are my people and what could be their challenges, and what could be the right thing to do, what could be the wrong thing to do. So I believe my job is also about making so many decisions in a day, and also deciding that what is right and what is wrong. So this has been, I think, very challenging, but this has been very insightful also. So it is very easy to decide, and this is very easy to serve people when you are also from them.
Yes.
So it's not difficult because I also represent people I serve.
Wow. And that's an amazing thought. So Karachi is a tricky city, and there is a perception about police here. What do you think? Where is the perception gap? Because there are some initiatives which I also like. For example, the recent traffic
E-challan system.
e-challan system. But there are many others. What is it you think both from police and for people to understand, so we can reduce this perception gap?
I always say that with my limited experience in policing, I think department is rapidly changing, but the perception is somewhere still stuck at the same place. So what we need to do is also work on the perception, because as we say that perception is greater than reality or the stronger than reality. But however, I have personally experienced that department has changed a lot. Like the very good initiatives have been taken in the recent past. women and child protection cells in all districts and ranges for the women and children issues, special cells for the, for the detection and the investigation of rape cases. Also, facilitation centers have been established to facilitate citizens for their जो रूटीन की चीज़ें होती हैं, वेरिफिकेशन और दूसरी चीज़ें. इसके अलावा बहुत ज़्यादा सोशल मीडिया इंटरेक्शन विद द पब्लिक, ऐसे ऑनलाइन डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म्स वेयर सिटीजन्स कैन formally file their complaints directly to the IGP portal, which is very good, and जहाँ से जो है फ़ौरन एक्शन लिया जाता है और कंसर्न क्वार्टर्स और कंसर्न ऑफिसर्स को जो है वो कंप्लेंट्स फॉरवर्ड
ये
हो
पोर्टल
जाते
क्या
हैं.
कहलाता है?
दिस इज़ IGP पोर्टल और सिंध पुलिस पोर्टल. अगर आप सिंध पुलिस की वेबसाइट पे जाएंगी तो वहाँ पे जो है कंप्लेंट मैकेनिज्म टोटली जो है आपको मतलब बिल्कुल क्लियरली मेंशन्ड है कि आप कैसे अपनी कंप्लेंट फाइल
और उसको
करती हैं.
आप इंग्लिश, उर्दू, सिंधी किसी भी ज़बान में लिखें, या इज़ इट प्रेडोमिनेंटली इन इंग्लिश?
नहीं, यू कैन ऑल्सो राइट इट इन उर्दू.
इन उर्दू, सो उर्दू और इंग्लिश.
जी, उर्दू
अच्छा.
और इंग्लिश. तो मतलब बहुत सारे इनिशिएटिव्स लिए गए हैं और बहुत ज़्यादा मुझे लगता है कि पब्लिक के साथ लाइज़न, पब्लिक इंटरेक्शन और पब्लिक के साथ मिलके जो इनिशिएटिव्स लिए गए हैं. So, like so many initiatives have been taken, to facilitate the public and also to ease up this perception of के जो है पुलिस में काम नहीं होते या नहीं सुना जाता. बिकॉज़ मुझे लगता है कि जितना हम लोग सुनते हैं वो किसी भी डिपार्टमेंट के लिए ऐसी सिचुएशन में, ऐसी चैलेंजिंग सिचुएशन में काम करना वो बहुत ज़्यादा तारीफ़ का हामी है. बिकॉज़ जब मैं स्टूडेंट थी और मैं एक आम पब्लिक परसेप्शन के हिसाब से सोचती थी और आज जब मैं डिपार्टमेंट का हिस्सा हूँ, तो मैं ये बहुत प्राउडली कहना चाहती हूँ, एक्नॉलेज मुझे करना चाहिए हर दिन कि एवरी डे दिस डिपार्टमेंट अर्न्स माय रिस्पेक्ट.
अच्छा.
हाँ, बिकॉज़ जब मैं अपने सिपाही को देखती हूँ कि वो किस तरह से 12 घंटे रोड पे जो है खड़ा रहना, काम करना और फिर हमारे जितने पुलिस ऑफिशियल्स शहीद होते हैं, लाइक आई थिंक दिस इज़ अ जॉब. कोई भी ऐसी जॉब नहीं है दुनिया में जिसमें कोई अपनी जान का नजराना पेश करे. सो नथिंग इज़ ग्रेटर देन लाइफ, बट दीज पीपल, दिस फोर्स मीन्स इर्रिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ कि उनका कॉन्सिक्वेंस क्या होगा, दे आर ऑलवेज सर्विंग पीपल, दे आर ऑलवेज ऑन रोड्स, दे आर ऑलवेज ऑन टोज इन दीज लिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज और वो जो भी चैलेंजेस हैं हमारे. So this department I think needs to earn a lot of respect and the work they are doing. तो वो जो पोर्ट्रेयल मुझे लगता है कि वो जो मीडिया प्रोजेक्शन है काम की, गुड वर्क डन की स्पेशली, वो अवेयरनेस लोगों में कि विच आर द राइट फोरम्स. अगर आपकी कोई कंप्लेन रिड्रेस नहीं होती, विच इज़ द राइट फोरम टू इंगेज, वो अवेयरनेस काफ़ी मिसिंग है. मतलब उस पर हमें मैं देखती हूँ कि आजकल बहुत काम हो रहा है. इवन सिंध पुलिस की जो डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म है वहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा अवेयरनेस कैंपेन्स चलाई जाती हैं. और रिसेंटली जो हमारे पास न्यू ईयर सेलिब्रेशंस हुई, तो उसमें सिंध पुलिस ने बहुत मैसिव कैंपेन चलाई अगेंस्ट एरियल फायरिंग. और उसका इम्पेक्ट इतना नज़र आया कि हर ज़िले में जो है वो बहुत इंसिडेंट्स ओवरऑल कराची में कम हुए बिकॉज द मैसेज रीच्ड पब्लिक. तो मुझे लगता है कि अभी काफ़ी चीज़ें चेंज हो रही हैं, उसको बस एक्नॉलेज करना. और स्पेशली आई बिलीव के द रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ वुमेन इन पुलिस इज ऑल्सो रीडिफाइनिंग द परसेप्शन ऑफ पुलिस. हमेशा
So
इसको
is
कहते हैं
it
ना कि
increasing because I mean, are we seeing more women police officers now?
yes, I think because the representation is increasing every year and we have अभी एक वो टाइम है where we have a number of women police officers. So this is also changing the perception and this is also giving that image to the people कि we have some ears to hear. And because I believe the women bring those traits to leadership that men cannot bring. So
yes, and I'm while you're talking and I'm thinking, okay, you come across as someone who's very approachable, soft, and yet you're in a very hard profession, right? So do people take you seriously?
I think I was expecting this question because this was the question when I was allocated as a police officer. So my aunt told my mother that she is the most soft spoken girl in our whole family. and I don't think that she is going to sustain in this profession because she is very soft hearted and quite soft spoken, very empathetic. So the kind of impression that people carry of me. So while I was in training, the first day the trainers thought that I will fail because I was very weak in physical examination, and they don't consider me someone who can do all those things. But on the last day I qualified all the milestones, and they were someone who told me that they are very proud of me, and the way they have seen के how did I overcome those challenges. तो मेरा इस बात पे, एंड देन व्हेन आई इट वाज माय फर्स्ट डे इन ऑफिस ओवरऑल, तो मैं इस पे आज ज़्यादा बात करना चाहूँगी बिकॉज़ आई हैव फाइनली गॉट दिस अपॉर्च्युनिटी टू टेल द सोसाइटी कि हम लोगों ने किस तरह के बेंचमार्क्स बनाए हुए हैं. द वन हू इज़ सॉफ्ट स्पोकन इज़ कंसिडर्ड टू बी वीक, but the one who is soft spoken should be considered as someone who has learned manners, decorum in life, someone who is human, because being soft spoken and soft hearted is very much human in nature. So it's a part of being that we all need to inculcate in ourselves. While I carry so much softness in my language, but at the same time I also carry strength in my actions. So though you are soft spoken does not mean that you reflect any kind of weakness, because galam galoch or a bad language does not make you bold or does not make you very much authoritative. Authority does not demand bad language. Authority does not demand hard tone. And I think authority demands only resilience, and authority demands strength in your actions, that you are very much consistent and you know how to get the work done. And I do command my force, and I believe the way the force takes my orders seriously it's too much huge. और मैंने आज तक जो है नहीं देखा कि मेरी बात को कोई सीरियस ना ले.
Yeah, because I think it's you're absolutely right, and the reason I asked this question, obviously different field, corporate may, and I used to hear this a lot, right? And I also look petite, and the question is that it's not the way you come across, it's the decision, it's the consistency, and also the value set, right? If people know कि ये बंदी जो है ये जहाँ पे मौका होगा, she will take a stance.
I think we also make our own reputation, the reputation that she does not listen to anything. She does things on merit.
हाँ.
She will always take decisions based on what is right, not based on what is demanded. So you carry a certain reputation about yourself, and once you build that reputation and sustain on it, you don't need to be very much authoritative in language. You need to be authoritative in your actions.
In your
और
actions.
मुझे लगता है कि अथॉरिटी की मीनिंग को जो है वो जब औरतें लीडरशिप में आती हैं तो उसको रीडिफाइन करती हैं. अथॉरिटी डज नॉट ओनली मीन पावर, अथॉरिटी डज नॉट मीन ओनली स्ट्रेंथ. Authority also needs empathy. Authority also means bringing other people to the same level, to that growth and contribution towards their progress also. So authority is also responsibility. And responsibility does not demand hard language. Responsibility demands consistency in actions and the output. It should always be result oriented. Like for example, if I want to get a work done, if I can get it done in my soft language and in the way I professionally execute things, why do I need to use a hard language? Why do I need to be hard on people? And people are already suffering a lot in our society. We don't need to be hard on our force, on our staff, on people around us, because we don't know that what kind of struggles they are carrying. और मैं क्योंकि पढ़ाती भी हूँ तो सब कहते हैं कि मुझ में ये नेचुरल एबिलिटी है कि if someone does not know that how to do a thing a certain way that I want to do, I always teach them. एंड मैं जहाँ भी जाती हूँ, जिस ऑफिस में भी जाती हूँ, तो मैं अपने स्टाफ को काफ़ी दिनों तक ट्रेन करती हूँ. लेटर कैसे ड्राफ्ट करना है, इसकी ग्रामर कैसे करेक्ट करनी है, इस चीज़ को कैसे प्रेजेंट करना है, बिकॉज आई ऑलवेज लाइक टीचिंग पीपल कि अगर वहाँ पे कोई वीकनेस है तो मैं उसको ब्रिज करूँ, क्योंकि as an officer I am also playing a role of leader for my force also. So if they have some gaps, I need to bridge them instead of being angry or instead of being annoyed कि why don't they know the certain skill of
और
doing
गेट
that.
थ्रेटन्ड कि कहीं ये ज़्यादा ना सीख ले, राइट?
अच्छा, इसमें एक बात
हाँ।
ज़रूर कहनी चाहिए कि हम लोगों को बचपन से बहुत हम लोगों ने सुना है कि लड़कियां जो है एक दूसरे की दुश्मन होती हैं और औरत जो है वो दूसरी औरत को उसको चांस नहीं देना चाहिए और females are never good friends and females can never be supportive of each other, like so many myths and so many perceptions. But with my experience in life मुझे लगता है कि जो मज़ा दूसरों को साथ लेके चलने में है, वो जो आधी अधूरी कामयाबी के मैंने हासिल कर ली और मैं आई एम द ओनली वन, वो इज़ नॉट द काइंड ऑफ सेटिस्फेक्शन दैट वी नीड इन लाइफ. जो लोगों को साथ लेके चलने में है, किसी और को इंस्पायर करने में, किसी और के लिए रास्ता खोलने में, जो कामयाबी का वो मज़ा है और जो वो कामयाबी की असल डेफिनेशन है, वो अकेले और तन्हा सफ़र करने में नहीं है. So it
एब्सोल्युटली.
brings a lot of joy in helping others out and in supporting others and in also showing the people the way or the direction that they need in life. तो किसी और की कामयाबी से थ्रेटन जो फील करते हैं, आई थिंक दे आर बॉर्न इनसिक्योर. और
हाँ.
वो इनसिक्योरिटी भी वो इसीलिए क्योंकि द सोसाइटी हैज सोशलाइज्ड देम इन अ सर्टेन वे. People comparing cousins with each other,
हाँ.
comparing friends with each other. किसी के बेटे ने कितने मार्क्स ले लिए, तुम जिंदगी में आगे रह जाओगे या पीछे रह जाओगे, like so many things. What we need to teach our children, what we need to teach our people in society, कि we all are in our own race. Like if I compare myself today, I don't compare myself with the other officers or with the other women. I compare myself like where I was 5 years back, where I was 10 years back, and where I stand today. And where do I want to see myself, like, fast forward to the 5 years. So this is always like you are in competition to yourself, you are not in competition to other people. And growth does not mean कि मैंने किसी और को कितना outgrow किया. Like how did I compete myself, how did I overcome my weaknesses, और मैं अपनी ज़िंदगी में कितनी आगे आई. So I am the hero of my own story. So my story does not have any villains, my story does not have any competitors. I'm always, supposed to be, and I should be permitted to be the hero of my own story.
Or as they say, the main character, being the main character of your own story.
And I'm always the main character. And so no one should be given this chance to rewrite my narrative or to rewrite my story in any ways. No one should be allowed to do that. And I always tell people around me, even I, used to tell girls around me, that I don't consider you my competition. Because you have never been my competition. My competition is only Manisha, and she will always remain my competition. And I feel very happy seeing other women growing in their life and, achieving something. I think कि इतनी छोटी सी जिंदगी है और सबका हक है खुश रहने का.
Amazing. So very quickly, if somebody is watching this show and they want to get into, they want to pursue a career like yours, boy or a girl, very quick tip, क्या आप उनको बोलेंगे, किस तरह वो तैयारी करें and what they should expect?
आई थिंक आजकल के दौर में इंफॉर्मेशन की कमी तो है नहीं, बिकॉज द टूल्स दे हैव गॉट लाइक आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, चैट जीपीटी, ये वो चीज़ें हैं कि वी हम लोग बड़ा उसको प्राउडली कहते हैं कि वी ग्रेजुएटेड विदाउट चैट जीपीटी एंड ऑल. तो देर इज़ नो लेक ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन के दे हैव ऑल द इंफॉर्मेशन ऑन सोशल मीडिया, ऑन गूगल, कि CSS की किस तरह से तैयारी की जाती है, PMS की किस तरह से तैयारी की जाती है, वहाँ पे आपके पास पूरी सारी डायरेक्शन है. What we need to do is being consistent on that information and consistent on our preparation. Once we have decided कि मैं आज से तैयारी कर रही हूँ, that means that is a day that you are not going to give up on yourself. And be consistent. And फिर आप देखें कि आपको जो है एक academy की ज़रूरत है या नहीं है, do you need a guideline or not, and then you should go. I still love, reading hard books. Instead of, I'm not
E-books,
someone who loves e-books. Even if someone is, good in that, so that does not matter. But the point is that you need to be very much consistent on what you are doing and, doing it a right way. मैं अभी देखती हूँ कि स्टूडेंट्स जो है वाइल लेक्चर्स वो बहुत ज़्यादा मोबाइल फ़ोन यूज़ करते हैं. their attention is diverted towards messages or matlab, I have never been a student who during the class loves using mobile phone or loves talking to others. I always love listening to lecture बिकॉज़ आई बिलीव कि कुछ ना कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन ज़रूर मिल जाती है और मतलब यू शुड ऑलवेज़ बी कंसिस्टेंट ऑन व्हाट यू आर डूइंग एट द मोमेंट इंस्टीड ऑफ बीइंग डाइवर्टेड। जो डाइवर्जेंसेस हैं इन लाइफ में और जो बहुत ज़्यादा हम लोग डाइवर्टेड रहते हैं, वो हमें कभी भी मुझे नहीं लगता कि वो हमें अपने ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को या अपने विज़न को हासिल करने में हेल्प करता है। इट ओनली डिलेज़ योर सक्सेस। और जो आज आपको लगता है कि आपके दोस्त हैं या जो आपको लगता है कि यू आर एन्जॉयिंग पीपल्स कंपनी, मतलब वंस यू अचीव समथिंग इन लाइफ आपको दोस्त मिल जाएँगे। मतलब आपको ये सारी अपॉर्च्युनिटीज़ मिलेंगी ऑफ एन्जॉयिंग, बट ऑफ मेकिंग अ करियर इज़ अ सर्टेन एज दैट वी शुड नॉट वेस्ट ऑन फ्यूटाइल थिंग्स, जिन चीज़ों को आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा ग्लोरीफाई किया जाता है। आई डोंट बिलीव कि दोज़ थिंग्स आर मीनिंगफुल टू परस्यू।
So, what about, currently the stats show a lot of people want to move out of the country. I believe there are so many opportunities there. And to your point, if you remain focused to your goal, you achieve eventually. But what's your message to them?
I think I was someone who was in the final year, and my group mates, someone moved to Australia, someone moved to Dubai, and someone moved to USA, and so many friends are settled outside till today, and someone moved towards Canada. So the close friends are all based outside. I was the only one who decided not to move out in the close circle because I always wanted कि मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मैं कहीं भी चली जाऊँ दुनिया के किसी भी हिस्से में, वो जो सेटिस्फेक्शन और वो जो सेंस ऑफ अचीवमेंट मुझे अपने मुल्क में रह के फील होगा, वो शायद मुझे कहीं भी वो सेंस ऑफ अचीवमेंट ना मिले। एंड at the end of the day, the existence is all about identity, and that identity is with your country, with your people, and with your own society that you belong to. So I will not discourage people in pursuing their careers. I will never discourage people in telling them that what they are supposed to do in lives, because I believe in agency, and I believe that it's ultimately the decision of an individual that what they want to do in their lives. But I believe that having a strong sense of attachment to the land that has given you so much, so we also owe a lot to that land. We need to give it back. हम लोग बहुत ज़्यादा बात करते हैं कि इस मुल्क में ये खराबी हो गई, यहाँ पे ये नहीं है, यहाँ पे ये नहीं है। हम लोग खुद से नहीं पूछते कि हमने इस मुल्क को क्या दिया है। हमें आज हम लोग बहुत ज़्यादा कितनी गंदगी है और वो कचरा फेंकने वाले भी हम खुद हैं। तो इतना हम लोग जो इतना हिपोक्रेट होते हैं हर चीज़ में, मैं समझती हूँ कि a lot of things need to improve from both sides. But because we belong to this land, and as a citizen we also owe this responsibility of serving this country and also improving things in the limited roles that we are assigned.
Absolutely.
मतलब चाहे मैं कितने भी लिमिटेड रोल में हूँ, आपकी जुरिस्डिक्शन कितनी भी डिफाइंड है, लेकिन अगर उसी रोल में रह के मैं 5 लोगों का भी कुछ अच्छा कर सकती हूँ, आई कैन डू 5 थिंग्स राइट, आई थिंक इट्स ह्यूज। मतलब हमें बहुत बड़े मैसिव चेंजेस की ज़रूरत नहीं है, लेकिन अगर हम सारे अपने अपने काम में बेहतर बन जाएं, सो इट इज़ ऑल्सो गोइंग टू ब्रिंग अ मैसिव चेंज अल्टीमेटली, बिकॉज चेंज इज़ ऑलवेज एवोल्यूशनरी। कोई इंकलाब से जो है चेंज नहीं आता, इट्स अ एवोल्यूशनरी प्रोसेस, इट कम्स विद टाइम। तो इफ़ यू बिलीव के यू आर स्ट्रांगली अटैच्ड टू योर आइडेंटिटी, so you should always come back and also give back to your country that has given you so much, your identity, your existence. And I personally believe that this country has given me a lot. I always say that the only identity that I carry in life is that I am Pakistani, and this is one of the strongest identities that any person can have.
Okay, now switching gears. Quite funny, the funniest sort of report that came to you, or something you're like, okay, this is really funny.
The funniest thing was that a boy reported to my office. He filed a complaint कि मेरी जो एक्स गर्लफ्रेंड है, और आई वाज इन अ पार्टी विद माय करंट गर्लफ्रेंड, एंड व्हेन शी केम शी हिट माय करंट गर्लफ्रेंड. So now I want to lodge a complaint against her, and I also don't want you to take any action. I just want you to call her to your office and apologize me. सो आई पहले मुझे बहुत गुस्सा आया सुन के, उसके बाद मुझे हँसी आई कि लाइक व्हाट काइंड ऑफ लोग
Issues.
इश्यूज़ पीपल ब्रिंग. और फिर मुझे ये सोच के ज़्यादा हँसी आई कि इस मुल्क में जो भी चीज़ होती है लाइफ में, द फर्स्ट सॉल्यूशन दैट पीपल गेट इन देयर माइंड्स इज़ दैट वी शुड रिपोर्ट टू पुलिस. किसी की लाइट चली गई, किसी का कोई भी इशू है, छोटे से लेके बड़ा इशू, द फर्स्ट सॉल्यूशन दैट कम्स टू माइंड इज़ दैट दे शुड रिपोर्ट इट टू पुलिस. तो मुझे लगता है कि ये वो रिलेशन है कि यू कैन हेट इट और यू कैन बट नॉट इग्नोर इट, बिकॉज इस डिपार्टमेंट की बहुत ज़्यादा जो है वो लाइजोन है पब्लिक के साथ,
हाँ,
एक्सपोज्ड है, और इट्स लाइक कॉल्ड द फर्स्ट
तो
डोर
आपने
ऑफ
बुलाया
जस्टिस.
उनकी एक्स गर्लफ्रेंड को और अपोलोजाइज करवाया?
आई कैन नेवर डू दैट. और मतलब मुझे अभी भी इस चीज़ पे इट वाज वेरी फनी के,
हाँ,
and like that was a concocted story that she came and she hit
अच्छा।
someone. वो उसमें कोई ऐसी चीज़ नहीं
हाँ,
थी, but that was just to put a pressure on that girl.
अच्छा, and any warmth you received or your team member and that really melted your heart? You're like, okay, this is amazing.
I think there are so many moments like
बट अगर
these.
एक
हाँ,
हाँ,
particularly एक I still remember a woman who was betrayed by her husband and who took away all her belongings, and उसकी जितनी भी wealth थी सारी चीज़ें लेके वो दूसरी खातून के साथ शादी करके, and he went to USA. So like no one was understanding her point of view that why does she want to register an FIR against him. फिर क्योंकि बहुत सारी चीज़ें डिस्कस हो रही थी कि हस्बैंड का तो हक होता है
हम्म,
आपकी, फिर इस पे कैसे केस होगा और क्या चीज़ें होंगी, मतलब सो मेनी थिंग्स वर बीइंग
हम्म,
डिस्कस्ड. So someone finally told her that there is a SDPO office and you can go to her office and she will resolve your issue. So the first time she came to my office and I heard her story
हम्म,
in at length. फिर उसके बाद जो लीगल एक्शन बनता था
हम्म,
ऑन द लीगल ग्राउंड्स वो हमने जो है लिया. सो she got a lot of strength after that.
हाँ,
She got strength to fight her case. She got strength to pursue the case
हम्म,
like wherever he was. Even she decided to go to USA after him. तो जब वो तीसरी बार मेरे ऑफिस आई तो वो बहुत मासूमाना अंदाज में मुझसे पूछा, तो मैं कभी भी आपके ऑफिस आ सकती हूँ? अच्छा, सो इज दिस डोर ऑलवेज ओपन लाइक फॉर पब्लिक? So I told her that this is a public office. This is for you. This is for all the people out there. These are public offices, and these are for the resolution of people's grievances. So like the way she felt accomplished and the way वो जो मासूमाना अंदाज में कि इज़ इट पॉसिबल दैट शी इज़
हम्म,
रीचिंग आउट टू दोज़ डोर्स ऑफ जस्टिस. And the similar cases of women out there and also men, sometimes but most of the times men also break down before us regarding their issues. So it's not about men or women, जो हमने सीखा है ना कि सिर्फ ब्रेक डाउन औरतें होती हैं. तो जब मुश्किल आती है द वे ह्यूमंस ब्रेक डाउन एंड यू आर द ओनली सोर्स ऑफ देयर रेजोल्यूशन ऑफ ग्रीवेंस. आई थिंक दिस इज़ ह्यूज एंड दिस कीप्स मी गोइंग. तो अगर आज मुझसे कोई पूछे कि व्हाट कीप्स मी लिविंग माय लाइफ एवरी डे, द ओनली रीज़न दैट आई गेट आउट ऑफ माय बेड कि द
are those
ओनली
stories? हाँ,
मोटिवेशन कि मैं क्यों जीऊँ ज़िंदगी, लाइक
हम्म,
व्हाट इज़ लेफ्ट. So I think that these are those small moments of happinesses on the people's faces. Okay, someone is there to resolve their issues, and God has given me that opportunity that no matter in what role I am serving, but I have that opportunity to serve few people, whoever comes to my office. So I think this is huge.
no, this is a great story, but I can tell you this is long time ago, about 20 years ago. Me and my friend, we went to Front Beach, and this was a Sunday. And as we were coming back, we noticed somebody was following us, a car full of boys. And we got a bit scared because we didn't have a driver. I was driving and my friend was with me. So I saw a police van. And I actually told them, I said, this car behind us, we're very scared because we don't know them and I think they're following us. They said, don't worry, you continue, where do you live? And frankly speaking, because of the perception, I was also skeptical. I mean, should I tell them where I live? And, that itself is a problem. But I had to trust on someone. I said, we're going towards whatever my address was, and I would like some kind of, assistance.
Assistance.
And he said, don't worry, we will drop you off as a mobile following. And it was quite funny because by the time I reached home, we had a mobile van, and so my family was very sort of surprised pleasantly that how come you got this protocol? I said, I have no idea. And of course the car disappeared. So as you're saying that there are stories, and if you can somehow trust them and maybe luck or whatever, then you would get
I
assistance.
can also share the story, like when I was a student. So I remember कि मेरी गाड़ी खराब हो गई थी, and I was with my brother at that time. So it was like 10 in at the night. तो वो 9 बजे के बाद 10 बजे वो सारी shops वगैरह बंद हो गई थी. So a police mobile, stopped by, and they asked us like, did we need any assistance or did we need any help? That was the first time, my first interaction with police. कि they asked a common citizen that if we required their help. तो उन्होंने जो है जब तक हम लोगों की गाड़ी का issue resolve हुआ, they waited there like till the issue was resolved. So that was the first time like I saw that human side of the police.
Yeah.
And then my personal interaction ke how they are always there to help people out. I think there are thousands of such stories every day, the untold stories, the unsung heroes in our society. But only one thing which is required is first, that step of trust in your departments. Because ultimately the departments are also reflection of the society, and the society needs to put trust into their departments, and the society needs to create their liaison with their officers, with their departments. Because ultimately these all institutions, ultimate objective is to serve and facilitate people, which needs to be done with their due responsibility.
Correct. But also the departments need to make sure that there is that communication. It's like two-way street. Otherwise, if there's a perception gap, I believe it's on both sides.
Yes.
Now we have a final round, which is called a rapid fire round. I'll be asking some questions and whatever comes to your mind.
Okay.
Okay, number one question. What's the hardest part of wearing the uniform?
I think putting all the badges in order every day.
Okay, one myth about police officers you wish people understood better.
That police officers are fat, unhealthy, looking creatures.
That's true. Fear or pressure? What's worst?
I think fear.
Why?
Because fear gives you this perception that you cannot deal with it. Pressure is something which we know that it's not going to last forever.
It's temporary.
Yeah.
Okay. If your badge could speak, what would it say about you? Or badges, rather, I would say.
That it's proud of me every day.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Okay. Authority feels like
Responsibility.
a moment when you doubted yourself but pushed through.
I think it was only during training that I doubted myself every day, that I could not run, I could not do all the physical activities.
But you continued.
Yes.
Okay. One quality that makes a great police officer.
Empathy.
Final message to people watching this show. Any message that you can give?
I think there are so many messages, there are so many aspects that we need to reflect on in life. But one thing that I would like to, I don't, need to tell people that what they are supposed to do in their lives, because I think people do know and they have their experiences, their bunch of wisdom that what to do in life. But one thing that we all need to learn is to be kind to each other. And I think it's free of cost, but it really costs a lot to the people that you are unkind to. So we always need to be kind to each other. We need to be kind to the struggles of people. and do not unnecessarily create competitions in spaces where it is not required.
It is not.
And I think the world is already suffering a lot. The world only needs empathy and kindness, and we need to spread a lot of happinesses wherever we go. The room should vibrate with your happiness, and the room should vibrate with your positive approach. And also, is a part of or as a member of the society, I have always one submission to the people, that do not normalize things which are wrong. Like we always say that two wrongs never make a right. So saying sentences like ये इसी तरह से होता है,
हाँ.
ठीक है, और ये जेंडर जो इसी तरह से है, ठीक है, आप इसको चेंज नहीं कर सकते, और दुनिया में जो है नुकसान सिर्फ औरत का होता है. मतलब those I think mean sentences which are supposed to ruin someone's lives and like say कि ये जो आदतें ये बहुत नॉर्मल हैं, आजकल तो ऐसा ही होता है, like you know at the name of saying कि आजकल ऐसा होता है, you do not normalize the wrong things in life. So do not try to superimpose wrong on the pretext of that this is fashion or this is trending. Right is always right and wrong is always wrong, and we should have the courage to stand by right in our lives, and always speak up what is right and always speak up what is truth, no matter how ugly it is, no matter how unpresentable it is to people, because with our sugar coating we cannot change things, but yes, by acknowledging them how they are, we can certainly change them.
Okay, and final question about Karachi. What do you think people they expect before coming to Karachi, and when they come here they get a surprise?
I think in the past years there has been always a negative perception about street crime in Karachi, but statistics show us that the Karachi is much safer than the past, and there has been a substantial reduction in street crime also. So वो कि it is not safe, you know, the perception that
And when they come here,
world is conveying that it is not safe, but I want to convey the message that these streets are safe for all the people. It is you know, safe for own people, it's safe for women, it's also safe for the tourists. So when they come here, they, you know, they experience the hustle and bustle, the lights of the city, the food, and also how it is safe for women out there. आप देखती होंगी कि संडे को किस तरह से, you know, groups of women are running on the roads. कुछ issues हैं, मतलब वो थोड़े बहुत मैं समझती हूँ कि पूरी दुनिया में है.
And especially it's a large city.
And it's a large city and it's all over the world, but it also, you know, does not undermine the need to improve those things, but it is a lot of, you know, improved. और वो मैं समझती हूँ कि वो जो हम लोग जो बिल्कुल टिपिकल कराचाइट की तरह हम लोग कहते हैं कि हम दुनिया के किसी भी कोने में चले जाएं, लेकिन कराची कराची है. So the kind of experience that you get in Karachi, it's massive, and especially I would like to thank the people of Karachi for what they are and how they always come for the help of people. How do they help each other? तो इस शहर की जो हौसला है, जो करेज है, एंड जो एक आप देखते होंगे अभी रमज़ान आ रहे हैं, तो रमज़ान में लोग कितनी ज़्यादा कंट्रीब्यूशन, चैरिटीज़, एक दूसरे को हेल्प करना और इफ्तारीज, इन लाइक यू नो so much life in Karachi, so much celebrations. So it's always a different city when you come here, and it's always a different experience. Only वो जो एक perception है कि it's crime ridden. So it's beyond that, and we should personally experience it, and we should personally watch it.
Thank you so much. It was lovely to have you, Manisha, with us.
It was also a pleasure. Thank you.
You.